Yo, 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 what's up? Turn up. It's your boy Reed Dudley. We here right now. We're live with Coach Kurt Hines. Is
Yes,
that
sir. How
correct?
you
Did I say
doing?
it?
Yeah, it was perfect. Perfect. I've
Can you
been
hear me,
called a
Coach?
lot of things. I can now. It was a little shaky in the beginning, but I can hear you now.
Hear me? All right. Yeah, man, we're right now. You're the head coach for Coronado High School out here in San Diego, and you've been making some noise out here, man. You're trying to make some noise out here. You got a straight up football, old school football style that I think the kids really
Yes,
like and
sir.
they enjoy, and that's why you're getting them to come out and play for you, man. Speak a little bit about your team and what you guys have been going through right now, man, during COVID.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So my wife and I moved out here. I coached high school football for 19 years in New Hampshire, and was a head coach out there, and then had our first grandson. So we sold everything and moved out west. So when I took over Coronado 3 years ago, I just finished my third season with them. The school is over 100 years old, but the program
Yeah.
itself, although they've had some success, really needed a fresh start. And I'm sharing that one of my coaches, Coach Davis, who is a salt of the earth man, just a great coach, a great human being. He's been there for 19, 20 years now, and he he applied for the head coaching job. So when I had my first coaches meeting with him, I wasn't sure if he was going to stay on or what it was going to be like. He stayed on. He's been phenomenal. So we're currently wrapped up day two this morning of our summer strength and conditioning, which for all of us sounds weird because normally without this COVID stuff, we'd be, halfway through our summer strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
But
Right.
we're a young program. We're rebuilding, and guys are excited. The thing I shared with them this morning was we only had about 50 guys out there, but for us right now, that's a lot. I said, how many of you guys are guaranteed, positive we're having a season? Raise your hand. And no one did. No one did. And I said,
Wow.
right, we don't know. We don't know if we're going to have a season. We don't know if it's going to be delayed. We don't know anything. But what I do know, and I shared with them, is that you guys showed up because you love this game. And that's what
Yeah.
it's all about. Yeah, I know it sounds cliche, but there are no guarantees in life. God wakes us, up one morning, that's a blessing. So,
Yeah.
it's new. After 23 years of coaching high school football, it's a weird feeling to go to practice in the morning, not knowing when our first game is or if we'll have one. But we we
Yeah.
we,
Yeah.
we got to we got to show up.
Yeah, they've pretty much put everybody on pause. Everybody, like you said, nobody knows nothing right now, and until like the 20th of July, that's when you guys will be getting your first word, first actual CIF giving you guys the answer on what's going on this year. Um, this morning they just released early this morning they released that there will not be any youth football or San Diego youth football here in San Diego as far as the AYF is concerned. Pop Warner still hasn't
Wow.
made a release yet, but I think they might be the. I think they might follow that train too. Not really sure. I just think this is probably the most. Like I told people. I told people this year. This is the weirdest year I've ever lived in my 38 years of living. This has just been weird. So
Amen.
um, playing out there in Coronado, man, it's a lovely part of San Diego. A lot of people don't venture there a lot. If you're not from here, you don't really, you might go there as a tourist, but some of the locals may not go over there as much, man. Talk about just coaching within that neighborhood and actually trying to just cultivate that talent and try to bring those kids together at Coronado.
Yeah, it's interesting. My wife and I live here in Chula Vista, so we're on the other side of the tracks, as I like to say. Uh, it's a blessing to be in Coronado for us both being raised in the East Coast. I think I could be wrong, but I think there are like 7 or 9 high schools here in Chula Vista.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy because back in New Hampshire, we had one high school, one town. So it's a great
Yeah,
thing to be in Coronado where there's one high school.
in
It's an
one town.
interesting
Yeah,
dynamic. Yeah, you know, and it's interesting, as you know, because you have the Coronado families who are born and raised and generation after generation lived there, and then you have North Island with the naval base. So you have, you know, the dynamics of as we create a culture and build a culture. 2 years ago, we had a stud quarterback. Actually, he was a good quarterback. He was a stud safety who was there his junior year. Father's a military guy, and then he moved away. He got transferred somewhere else. So it's a constant challenge to create a culture and continue to always not recreate the culture, but reinstall it, if you will, with the new players that come in. It's, you know, one of the things I share with our players, and I love our players. I love our young men, and not all of them come from money. Some do, some don't. But what I share with them is, you know, a lot of people play this game we love because this is their ticket out. Whatever out of whatever it is, you know, it's a
yeah,
ticket out of somewhere. So it's interesting to me, you know, to coach a bunch of young men who I love, who some of them do it because it's just a hobby. You know, and that's okay. Not everyone is passionate about football, but to get everyone on the same page and say, hey, listen, if you're passionate or not, if you want to play at the next level or not, we've got to come together and figure out what our identity is going to be as a program and make something happen. So it's a blessing. I absolutely love it. The
yeah,
community is supporting what we're doing, and we just, like I said in the beginning, we're a young program. We only have, I think, 11 seniors now, which is small. You know, my program back in New Hampshire, where I was a head coach, we had 144 players, and not I, but not yeah, it wasn't me, but it was a brand new high school. I was the first head coach, but we, the coaches, the players, and I built a powerhouse. You know, where my last 4 years, we went to the state championship 3 out of the 4 years.
okay,
Come to Coronado, come to the Coronado, and I'm like, man, San Diego football must be huge. And you know, the weight
yeah,
room was horrible. You know, so
yeah,
we did a fundraiser for that. You know, just it's an interesting dynamic because it's I see tremendous potential, but we're in the infancy stages of what we're doing there. You know,
yeah.
and
It
I
had to
saw your
change. It
shirt,
had to
coach.
change some old school ways over there. It was a lot of old school ways that was going on. A lot of, the football program probably wasn't, tops on the list. Their basketball program has always been pretty good. So I know I've seen that
Yes,
gym over
sir.
there. That gym is nice, but never ever really, the football team was making noise like that, man, until you came in. And start hearing a lot more about what was going on at Coronado. It was before it was kind of like a don't ask, don't tell type thing. But we're getting ready to go to our first commercial, and we'll be back with Kurt Hines, head coach of Coronado football, the Islanders. We'll be right back with you guys. YSC the show 34.
Hi, I'm Coach Kurt Hines, head coach of the Islander football program. Going on my third season here as head coach of the Coronado Islanders, and just blessed to be here.
I don't care what grade you're in, what level you're at, where you are in the depth chart. Once you start competing, truly competing every day, your whole game, your whole life is going to change.
You know, one of the things we talk to our guys all the time about is the power of why, understanding their why. Not only why they play football, but why they get up in the morning, why they study for tests, why they show up, and why they do the things they do. And I'm a firm believer in our why is what makes us who we are. My why for coaching, I've coached high school football for 22 years now, and my why as a player was to hurt people. I loved doing things in the field that I couldn't do out in the streets without getting in trouble for. As I've matured a little bit over the years, my why has gone through a big change to empowering people. It's a platform for me. As coaches, we have a captive audience. We have an opportunity to pour into the young men, the young women we coach, and to not just share our passion for the sport, the X's, the O's, the game planning, the strength and conditioning, but for life. And we're blessed to be here in a community where we have a rebuilding of a culture, a rebuilding of a program, and just excited to be here.
Hey, jog it up, jog it up.
If I could share one thing with the residents of Coronado, we have a unique thing here. My wife and I moved 4 years ago from the East Coast when we had our first grandson, and there aren't many towns like Coronado in San Diego, in Southern California, where you have one town and one team. So the beauty in that is, as long as we create a culture that excites people, we can start getting a lot of people coming out to the games and creating something where our children and grandchildren in kindergarten and first grade have a sense of purpose and community with coming to the games and wanting to be part of something bigger than themselves. So we just appreciate your support. We appreciate all you do to help us, and come out to a game.
All right, we are back, guys. Right here, the Coronado episode, the Island episode. You know what I mean? Here with the Youth Sports Center, we got Coach Kurt Hines in there. Now, Coach Kurt Hines, it's been a lot of stuff that's been going on during this COVID. A lot of crap. I told somebody the other day, I said, man, not only is this the weirdest year I've ever, but I've heard some off-the-wall type stuff this year, I've seen you in a positive light because I got a chance to see you in action during what was going on during Black Lives Matter, and you wanted to stand out and speak on, what you had seen and what you've experienced. Tell us how you dealt with the kids over in Coronado when this issue came up, and how did you respond to it, and what did you talk to them about?
Yeah, it's interesting. First, I just want to share a personal story. I'm actually thrilled right now because we have 4 children, my wife and I, but our 25-year-old daughter is actually up at Big Sur right now, and our son-in-law Jeremy is proposing to her sometime this weekend or sometime this week. So excited! But he and I actually did a video because he came into our life about 2 years ago, and he's a black young man raised in Ohio, put himself through college at the Ohio State, and just a salt of the earth, like an amazing human being. So it was interesting. Just a little history of myself. I never thought I was a recipient, for lack of better words, of white privilege. I didn't. I grew up blue collar, middle income in Rhode Island. However, I was always a good kid, but I got into trouble a lot. I got into a fight with 3 police officers when I was 18. It was 3 felonies. I had some serious stuff I had to take care of. Talking to my now son-in-law Jeremy, I don't know what would have happened if I was not a white kid beating up 3 police officers, but if I was black. And it was the first time in my life really had a paradigm shift. I was like, dang, that's white privilege. I don't know what would have happened. Only God knows that. But it was really eye-opening for me. As far as what I've talked about with my players, what I've shared with them, is that we're all a part of this. We don't have tremendous diversity in Coronado. We really don't.
Yeah.
I have 4 coaches on my staff of 12 that are black. They're just like the other coaches. They're amazing men, amazing football coaches. I'm blessed to be around them. But players, last year we only had, I think, 3 or 4 players that were black. So I was talking to one of our incoming sophomores about it, and he goes, "Well, it doesn't really affect me." And he's a great young man, but he's a white kid. And I looked at him. I won't say his name, but I was like, "Yes, it does." I said, "This affects all of us, because how one human being being treated, regardless of the skin color, that affects all of us." So I think part of my job as a head coach at Coronado, where there's not a lot of diversity, is to maybe help open up some eyes to the fact that if you're not affected by this right now, or if you don't think you are, the day's going to come sooner or later. We're blessed, as I mentioned, where our daughter's marrying a young man who's black. He's just, I don't care what his color is, but he's one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. Just a strong faith, a strong person, just love him. And I think that's important. I think too often people don't want to talk about things that are political or spiritual or whatever it is, because they're afraid of offending someone. And I think that,
Tough
personally, I think that's
topics.
part of the problem. Yeah. And I think
Yeah,
too often
yeah.
people
Some
don't
people
want to
shy
have
away
those
from
tough
tough topics,
conversations.
man. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, a lot of people, they don't want to have the conversations. They don't want to. It's not something that they want to talk about, especially if they've never been enlightened to it. But I think there's a lot of people now who are forcing the conversation and at least asking some questions and getting it out there, man. We're getting ready to go to another commercial break. I just wanted to let you know how good of a guy this guy Kurt Hines was real quick, man. We'll be back, man. We're going to talk a little bit more football, what's going on and what's going to happen after the 20th. And will we have a season? this year in high school football. I'll let you know my thoughts when we get back after this next commercial. Thank you, AG Sports Video Production. Also, this is your boy Reed Dudley, the Youth Sports Center 34, the Island Edition with Coronado, Kurt Hines.
At Coronado High School, players, students, and teachers have grown accustomed to hearing motivational messages from head football coach Kurt Hines every day.
Good job. Good job.
And now, thanks to social media, the rest of the world is listening too.
Usually, if you're being slept on, it's because you haven't woken up yet to realize what you need to do to get yourself out there. The greatest people I've ever known, the greatest ever walked the earth, know how to cast their life story. If they have a goal, they have a mission, they surround themselves with people that are like-minded. We all make the mistake of thinking about what's next and in the moment of certain things, not being in the moment. Let's all slow down a little bit, be where our feet are, and realize the blessing and beauty in doing just that.
An elementary school teacher for 25 years, Hines has coached high school football for 22 of those, and he's been head coach of the Islanders for 3 seasons now. He began sharing his messages on Twitter about 2 years ago.
My wife was the one that pushed me to get onto Twitter, of all things, and one day I just put out a video there, and it seemed to resonate with a good number of people and kind of spread.
At the time, he had less than 2,000 followers. Now he's got 40,000 and counting, built organically by those wanting motivation and positivity in their timeline. His videos are viewed by thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of people. But it's not about the clicks, the views, or the likes. It's about connecting with others and empowering them to change their lives.
I'm a firm believer that we are in charge of our own lives. You know, it's not so much what happens to us, but how we respond to it, you know, our reaction to things. Very few of us are going through anything alone, whether it's depression, anxiety, whatever it is. There are different things that we have to realize we're not alone and there are people out there to help us.
Many of Hines' videos are based upon situations he sees on the football field that he extrapolates into bigger life lessons.
More often than not, football and all of life, the game of inches that really matter the most are the 6 or 7 inches between your ears.
His players, who face Sarah High School on Friday in the CIF quarterfinals, are some of his biggest supporters, and that feeling is mutual.
Coach Hines inspires us as much as anybody I've ever been around. Him on social media, I'm sure he affects people, but we get to see him every day. Like, we get his message like all the time, 24/7. It's like implanted into our brains, kind of.
Yeah, I follow him on Instagram, and it's just crazy to see how many people follow him from schools all over the country, and just the fact that like he's our coach. Because on Instagram, I mean, he's like a celebrity pretty much for high school coaches. I think most people at our school, even the people that don't play football, find him to be inspirational just because his message, his videos that he posts, they have an impact on everyone. He's just a good guy, and like what you see in like the videos, he's not really like acting for anyone. That's just who he is.
I've been talking to a lot of players lately that are battling depression or have loved ones that are battling depression. And one common theme is it just seems like everyone that's battling depression feels like they're alone and that there's something wrong with them. They should just be able to snap out of it. That's ridiculous. I think it's a blessing for all the platforms, teaching and coaching, to be in a position to empower people. And that's my greatest, I think, calling and passion. And the platform of football allows me to have a captive audience and just help, you know, not only try to win games, but change lives.
Recently, like, my dad passed away, and Coach Hines has almost been like a second father to me, I'd say, and just taking me under his wing and treating me like one of his own. It's like a blessing for me because it's somebody who like shows me how to be a good man, but then also be a good football player.
Those messages have made an impact, not just with the players on the football field, but with people from all walks of life, including the ones he's never met.
Yeah, it's been crazy, honestly, worldwide, which doesn't sound, you know, arrogant, but people across the United States. I've been asked to speak in Hawaii this coming summer, and I've spoken in Mississippi and places that, you know, with people I would have never connected with. It struck a chord with them personally or professionally. I know for a fact there are a lot of coaching staffs throughout the country that share the same message, and I just want more people to put the message out there and not care how many people like it or retweet it or share it, but realize that you're sharing positivity, and we all know there's enough negativity in the world.
In the words of Coach Hines,
take what's worth, stay strong.
For the San Diego Union Tribune, I'm Annie Heilbrand.
And we are back again. And there you guys seen in that clip right there how impactful Coach Hines has been since being at Coronado. He's even turned himself into a social media star. He's got his juice going, got it flowing. Coach, how does that, it resonate with not just the players, but the people on campus, the other teachers? How do you think that resonates with them, having a coach that comes in that's impactful and that can kind of get to the kids when they're having problems with them?
Yeah. First of all, I want to blame my wife for that whole social media thing. She's the one that pushed me to it. I'll blame her, but give her
Right
credit.
on.
I just hope that all of us, teachers, coaches, realize that we're all in this together. And I'm not just talking about the COVID thing now and the things that we have got to be dealt with as far as race and equality, but just life in general. The saying "it takes a village to raise a child" is so true. It's just my wife and I, as I mentioned, 3 daughters, one son. I told my son since he was like in diapers, "You got to eat more. You got to fuel your body," and he just didn't listen to me until he started playing football. Came home his freshman year and said, "Coach said I need to eat more." Like, man, but it was funny. But the fact is, I don't care if he's hearing that message from me, from a coach, from a pastor, from a teacher. As long as we're
Yeah.
helping kids together, that's what it's about.
Yeah, man, that is exactly what it's about, man. We got one more little short commercial, man. We're gonna go to that real quick. Then we're gonna finish up with Coach. I'm gonna let him go ahead and get to the rest of his night. So we're gonna finish up this short commercial, guys. We'll be right back. The island version, YSC, the show. We'll be right back.
It's horrible. Oh, it's horrible.
Shut up.
It's too bad.
All right,
I
we
miss
are
it.
back.
I miss it.
Yeah, he's already. I miss it. Hey, Coach, I'm gonna give
Oh,
you a chance right now. I give all the coaches the opportunity to do this. Hey, man, shout out some of your impact players, and we know everybody has. They know their whole team is impactful. And we know everybody wants to say everybody, but who are those players that are going to be turning some heads this year? If we do get to play, who should we be looking at Coronado right now? Maybe looking to go to the next level and play college football.
yeah, we're like I said, we're a young team, but Brady Rulier started quarterback for us last year. May end up being our starting slot receiver, one of them this year, because we have a young sophomore quarterback, Johnny Carlson, who we're expecting big things out of. Uh, just across the board, we're young. We're expecting a lot of guys to come up. Donnie Couts is going to be a junior tight end for us. Kelvin Rawls is one of those athletes you really can't put into a position by name, but will
Mm-hmm.
play different multiple positions. So I'm excited. It's I'm an optimist to the core. that looming question of whether or not we have a season, scares me to be honest. But I'm praying. I'm just praying that we have a season. I'm not sure what it will look like, whether it's shortened or delayed, but I'm praying we have a season.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm thinking it might be pushed back a little bit. I don't think they're just going to start it when when they regularly start it. I think they're going to push it back, which is going to mess with recruiting and things like that.
Yes.
So I mean, it's going to have some parents, on hype. But I think that's the only way to kind of like get things going during the time of this much uncertainty. Coach, if you guys did have a season this year, what division would you guys be playing in here in San Diego?
What Helix and Cathedral haven't returned my call, so I'm not going to play those guys. I'm just kidding, just kidding. No, we're right now. To be honest, we're middle of the pack, Division 4. We're
Okay.
and I think that's where we should be. I'm a firm believer that competition breeds success. You want to play better teams.
Mhm.
I would rather be a 500 team and have games where your heart's in your throat for the entire game than have blowouts and
Yeah.
be in a division that you're better than. I think we're a good Division 4 team right now with still a lot to prove.
Hmm. Yeah, Division 4 is gonna have some teams, and I know Patrick Henry's looking to
Yeah,
make some big waves too. This year, Division
they've
4. I
got
mean,
some
that'd
great
be a real
athletes
good.
and great coaches.
Yeah, yeah, man. They're out there getting. I'm trying to get him on next, man. So JT O'Sullivan, hey, I'm looking for you, guy. Would like to get you on YSC the show, man. But hey, man, thank you, Coach Kurt Hines, man. We appreciate you coming on, man. It's been wonderful, man. I know you still out in Florida, aren't you?
No, we came back. We're here in San Diego
Okay.
now. My actually grandsons are just coming in the door here in a minute. But so we're back. But I appreciate you. I appreciate having me on. You guys are a blessing. So thank you.
Yeah, man, we're gonna keep this going on, man, and hopefully we shake all this stuff, man. And hey, if I ain't got a game at San Diego High, man, maybe you'll have me come out there to the island and turn it up for y'all, man, with you Sports Center style, man.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And
All righty, man.
anytime.
Thank you, man. We appreciate you, Kurt Hines of Coronado High School. The Islanders. The Island episode here with YSC the show. We've been surfing and dancing and moving all night, man. You got to watch out, man. That's a nice naval base over there, too. And I'll come see
Yes, it
about you.
is.
Shout out to United States Navy and everything that you guys
Amen.
do over there on Coronado Island. You know what I mean? We're out, man. That'll be it. That's enough of us today. Thank you, AG Sport Video Production. This has been your boy Reed Dudley. YSC the show, number 34. Kurt Hines and Coronado, the Islanders.